Hey, what's going on, guys? Today's the 20th of November 2016. I'm going to be going over some of these trades that I'm looking at for this week. If the trades set up, obviously I'll look at them a little bit closer. If they don't set up, then I'll pass on them. So I'll obviously be waiting for my setups to come on these. First one that I'm looking at is AT&T. Chart's coming up here to an interesting area of resistance, and with the moving averages kind of pointed to the upside here. We're already kind of seeing that some of the buyers are lessening in here. I'm looking for one more push into this to get short, and so I'd like to see this push up to the low 38s here. Try to see if we can catch it on the short side there, and bring it back into the low or mid 37s. So sorry, 36s. So that's what I'm looking for on this one. There isn't a huge range there, but still a possible trade for the short week. Nike, what I'm looking at here is a bearish engulfing and a quick rejection candle into some resistance area over here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to actually be short on Nike. So what I want to see is obviously I want to see it come up into an area where I see another rejection candle. If it opens below and pushes up, definitely I want to be short into it. I'd be looking into that trend right here to be my main area for any kind of add into the short position. So as far as it goes right now, here I do have a candlestick pattern that I like for the short position, which is obviously a bearish harami. So what I'd be looking for into tomorrow is I'd be looking for a lower open and then a push into the day, and then some sort of a short signal, you know, using this top over here as a stop. And then I'd be looking to add into if it breaks the trend to the downside. CLR. So I like this chart, nice and strong. The only problem for me is that I obviously missed where it curled. Obviously, hindsight right here, missed the bearish, bullish engulfing and the gap up and the move towards the upside. Chart did break the downtrend line here, so what I'd be looking for is I'm trying to see if you get some pullback off of it. I'd ultimately like to get to that $49 range, right into this zone over here. If I can catch it into that range, I'd be happy with taking a long position. Try to curl it up, and ultimately if it breaks over here, then you can add into the trade, and if it breaks over that top, then you can do a bigger add into the trade then. So I'd be looking for a pullback on it first add, take some money, second add if it breaks over and holds on CLR. MA. Okay, so chart setting up here nice and flagging up at the top here. So it's setting up to be a pretty bullish scenario. So what I'd like to see obviously is I'd like to see this test right at the flag. Small pullback on it, give me an entry somewhere in the 104s, mid 104s or so would be fine. And I'd like to see the test first, then the pullback, and then take it on the long side. So if it tests and breaks straight through, then I'd need to wait to see if the flag gets retested. Then I want to be long on the trade. Okay, so I'm gonna wait for the setup to happen. Ultimately, I want to see this trend being broken to the upside. So I'm gonna wait for the setup to happen. So what I'd like to get ultimately on this one is I'd like to see a little pullback on it. So I want to see the test of the breakout, then the retrace, then I want to go long on it into that breakout. So I'll be looking somewhere closer into that low 104s as that should give me a decent risk reward on the trade. Next on the list is Monsanto, coming up to that 50 EMA on the daily chart right here. Obviously we've seen it gotten rejected here once, and I'd look for a double top and some sort of a rejection here again. So if I can manage to get that rejection right here again, then I want to take some on the short side and bring it down to about this range over here. We already have our stochastics are pointed straight up, and we do have lessening volume at the top, so gives me a reason to believe that we should take some on the short side if we can get a double top rejection into that range over here. SWKS. Okay, so chart is flagging over here, making higher lows as it's trying to break out. We do have increase in volume, and every other indicator is set up fine. MACD is just about starting to come over, so I'm bullish here on this one. What I'd like to see is a little pullback on it right down into that 77 range, And if I can get it down into the 77 range, I want to play it long and add into the trend break to the upside. Jnj. Okay, so what I want to do on this one is I actually want to be short. Still seeing that there are a lot of sellers on this chart, but it is getting a little bit oversold. I'd like to see a little pushback on it real quick. Ultimately, I would like to get it to 118 right into this range here, but that's probably not going to happen. So what I'd like to see is I want to see if it gets rejected in this high 116s. If I can get a rejection on that one at that range, then I do want to take it on the short side. Obviously, I'm waiting for my setups first. Then I'd be looking for this trend over here as far as where my target is for exit. And if it was to break, then I'd be holding some and then add into that if it broke. Lulu, next one on the list. What I'm looking for on Lulu, okay, chart's really just kind of hanging here at the bottom. Let me just clean up some of this stuff over here so you can see what I'm working with. I'll leave that bottom line. Okay, so pretty decent bearish engulfing here. What I'm looking for, chart's stuck in a channel, okay? So it's a pure channel trade until you really get something forming. But the bigger picture is a huge bear flag. So what I'd like to see is a pushback into this one, just a little bit, maybe to about right over 56s, and then I'd want to be short on it and add if it breaks the channel to the downside. So ultimately, what I'm looking here for is just a nice huge bear flag right here, and ultimately to break down to the downside. So that's my game plan on Lulu. Chart just got to set up, and then we should be all over that one. TWLO, I got to clean this up a little bit too. Chart's a little bit sketchy here. First, we have a bullish harami right there on the daily chart, right over its 13 EMA. Chart's starting to act really nice down at the bottom here in the low 31s, and so I remain bullish on it. But there is a decent set of resistance coming up here, but that doesn't actually lie till probably close up to the 40s. So what I'd like to do on this one is I'd like to see a pullback on it, and pull back to about 35.50 or so, and then try to take it on the long. The 13 EMA, the lows from this consolidation zone, is right sitting over here. It gives you a good stop out area if the chart was to break, and then see if we can play it for the long side into, I don't know if we can get that kind of volume into this week, but into that high 30s or possibly low 40s. Last on the list is Hog. HOG, charts flagging here to the upside. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see a continuation of this bull flag. The stochastics are reset. Decent little volume coming in here. We can get some more volume on it. The chart should be able to break out to the upside. Trade's a little thin for right now as far as the size of the candles, not the volume. But once the chart gets going, it can have a nice little move to the upside. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see a pullback on it. Try to make sure obviously it holds the low from the previous trading day, as far as if I'm trading this tomorrow, if it was a setup. And then I'd like to play it on the long side and see if the chart can come up into the 59s or possibly more than that. So that's the few that I have going into this week. It's really not a whole bunch of stuff going into this week. It is going to be a shortened trading week. You do have a lot of people traveling all over the place and may not even be trading at all, so expect some lessened volume in the markets. And obviously keep an eye on the shippers. You have a whole bunch of names there to keep an eye on, just in case they decide to do something crazy again this week. You just want to at least keep an eye on them. And for those of you guys that don't follow me, it's at Iceman Trading. There you'll find links to pretty much everything that I do. And if you want to be part of Iceman Trading Academy, just email me at barrymohan81@gmail.com. Thank you. Have a good week.